All right, guys. I'm watching this super cool blood moon, and it's 4:33 in the morning right now here in Las Vegas. Yeah, set the alarm, and actually I woke up very early. Super blue moon. It's happening right now. No clouds. It's very clear. It's awesome. I gotta go adjust this a little bit. Okay. Superb. Damn, I hope I don't run out of battery. I mean, the memory card.
Hey gang, it's Clayton Sandell. We are live from Denver at the Bluff Lake Nature Center here for the Super Blue Blood Moon Eclipse. It is about 34 degrees here when I last checked, so it's very chilly, but as you can see, we've got plenty of hardcore astronomy fans here who have come out. They had about 300 or so people sign up to participate here today, and you can see sort of the city lights of Denver beyond me here. We're actually up on the top of a very high cliff, about 100 feet here, and you can see, maybe Tony can zoom in, you can see the moon is starting to disappear and actually turn a little bit red. At about 5:50 is when it enters the full shadow of the Earth here, and I don't know if you can tell, but it is actually already starting to turn a little bit red. And as you come this way with me, I want to just introduce you to some folks who were here very, very early. Here they are. All right, good morning, guys. Wanted to introduce you guys.
All of the sunsets on the Earth at the same time.
Checked it on the moon.
That's right. And so the ring looks red, just like when the sun is setting, it looks red, and that red light is what's lighting up the moon. That's why it turns this blood red.
Incredible. Now, we should probably explain why this is such a big deal. We've got three things all coming together, which you're saying are not that uncommon in themselves, but what do we got going on here?
Well, each one of these things happens relatively common. It's just that when you take all three of them and put them together, it's not that often.
And the three things are...
Well, first of all, just a lunar eclipse, and those happen a couple of times a year on average, something like that. So it's not uncommon, but just doesn't happen every day.
Right.
Also, this is happening when the moon happens to be at the point in its orbit closest to Earth. It's called perigee, because the moon orbits the Earth on an ellipse, and so sometimes it's farther away and sometimes it's closer. And we're about a day after that. So that happens every 1 out of every 10 times, something like that. So again, it's more rare.
Right.
And then the third thing is that this is what we call a blue moon. It's a nickname.
Right.
It just means the second full moon in a calendar month. So it takes the moon about 27 days to go around the Earth. And so in January, we had a full moon right after New Year's. And so now today, on the 31st, we're getting another full moon. So it's a blue moon.
But it's been a long time since all three of those things happened at the same time.
That's right. I've been looking around, and the last time I can see that this happened, pretty much like this configuration, was 150 years ago.
Wow.
So, Civil War era, that sort of time.
Andrew
So it's
Johnson
been a
was
while.
president, Jesse James was robbing trains, that sort of thing. Yeah, okay.
A long, long time ago.
And so this is rare, and it's interesting, too, because a solar eclipse, we saw that back in August, but you had to be in a very specific place and see it at a very specific time. This is a lunar eclipse is almost like an eclipse for the rest of us.
Yeah, with a solar eclipse, the moon is casting its shadow on the Earth, and that shadow's relatively narrow. If you're not in that shadow, you don't see it.
You don't see it.
And if you're a mile outside that shadow to the north or south, you're losing out. So you have to be in a specific place at a specific time. The beauty of a lunar eclipse is that it's the Earth's shadow on the moon. So if you can see the moon, you can see the eclipse. Now, the moon doesn't care which part of the Earth is facing it or not. It just cares that it's behind the Earth and blocking the sun.
Right.
So it just so happens that the United States is more or less facing the moon, and we get to see it at least right before sunrise. There's another eclipse in July, and we're facing the wrong way. It's going to be up during the day for us. We're facing the sun, not the moon, so we lose it. But then next year, again in January, there will be an even better one where the lunar eclipse will last all night. So for us in the United States, we get a perfect view of it.
But for this one, pretty much everybody in all 50 states gets at least some of this eclipse.
That's right.
But you got to be out west to really see the best.
Yeah, the way it works is it's happening out in space, so it's happening all at one time. So where you are in your time zone depends on whether you're going to see it or not. So on the East Coast, the eclipse had just started when the moon was setting, and the sky was getting light. We're here 2 hours to the west in Denver. The sky is still dark, although it's getting a little bit lighter.
Get a little bit lighter, yeah.
And we're just getting totality right now, from what I can see.
Yeah.
And the moon will set right around the time totality ends, which is I've never seen. So that might be pretty neat. The sun might be lighting up the mountains, and we'll get that beautiful eclipse moon right behind it. We'll see.
And we've talked about a lot of colors, the blood red moon, the blue moon. You were talking about something called the black moon, which is interesting. Next month.
Yeah, this is a new term to me. I mean, blue moon is just a nickname. It's not really blue.
Right.
It is red. It's turning red now.
Yep.
And a black moon is just a nickname for a month without a full moon. And that kind of has to happen this time.
Right.
We had a full moon early January. 27 days later, here we are with another full moon, January 31st. February only has 28 days.
Right.
And so we're not going to see another full moon until March 1st, I think.
Okay.
So February does not have a full moon in it, and that's just the nickname for that is a black moon.
A black moon. Okay, great. Curious, if we were standing then on the moon, what would we be seeing?
You'd be seeing a solar eclipse. If you were standing on the moon, you'd be dead. Okay, let's get that established right away. So you're in your spacesuit and everything, and you're looking at, as the eclipse starts, what you're actually seeing is the sun in the sky, and the Earth is starting to move in front of the moon. And when the Earth just starts blocking, excuse me, I said that wrong, didn't I? The Earth is blocking the sun.
Right.
When that just starts to happen, where you're standing, you'll see it get a little bit darker. Not a lot, because the sun is still up.
Right.
It's only a little bit being blocked. From the Earth, we would see that as a partial eclipse. The moon is starting to dim. And then as the Earth blocks more and more of the sun, it gets darker and darker. And then where you're standing, the Earth completely blocks the sun. That's a total solar eclipse. And what we would see here is sort of that blood red lunar landscape there, which is what we're seeing now.
That's excellent. Okay, so we got totality in full totality in about a half an hour, right? And then it'll set. before it comes out of totality for us.
Yeah, I think totality lasts a little over an hour.
A little over an hour, which is
15
great.
minutes, I think, something like that. Yeah.
Terrific. Phil Plait, the Bat Astronomer, thank you very much for joining us. You can catch Phil on Twitter, Bat Astronomer, right?
Bat Astronomer.
Bat Astronomer, and on sci-fi.com writes the Bat Astronomy column. So we got all these folks out here waiting, and thank you for joining us. We will be back in a little while. Take care. Thanks, Phil.